Like Emily said, I'm Renee Molner. I'm a senior here at Mizzou, journalism major, theater minor, and I'm from St. Louis, which means I'm not really happy about what's going on with the Cubs right now. But it's okay, like I'll get over it probably. So like she said, tonight we're going to be opening a new series about the Prayer of Jabez. And I'm going to be talking about the line, "Oh, that you may truly bless me." So we're going to be focusing on one super fantastic word in that, which is bless. And I'm super excited to be giving this talk because I love blessings. I love talking about blessings. I love acknowledging blessings. I just love blessings. So God definitely knew what he was doing when he's like, Emily, like ask Renee for this. I mean, God always knows what he's doing, but like, come on guys, this is cool. I'm kind of like the person who started using hashtag blessed ironically, but like I don't think I use it ironically anymore. So now I'm just like that person. But anyway, the great thing that I love about blessings is that God loves us, so he wants to bless us. We're his children, and people always want the best for their children. So being a words person, I immediately was like, I'm gonna look up the word blessing in the dictionary. So I did. And it says a blessing is a favor or gift bestowed by God, thereby bringing happiness. And of course, God wants us to be happy. And he wants us to ask for blessings, which is pretty cool in and of itself, that he's just waiting to help us and to treasure us. If you also think about the original line again, "Oh, that you may truly bless me," may is a word of permission. So God is waiting for us to give him our permission to bless us. And it's kind of like, if you want to think about it biblically like the prodigal son. So really, we're like the son coming back to the father. And he's waiting there, waiting to bless us. If you remember in the story, the father sees his son coming and he runs to him and he embraces him, and then he like throws him this like huge party. And that's what God wants to do for us ultimately. He wants to throw us this huge party of blessings. It's cool. So meanwhile, think about like how wonderful the son must have felt, like knowing that his father had blessed him so abundantly. Because the son's journey home probably wasn't easy, but it was definitely worth it in the end. So like Emily also said, the name Jabez actually means pain, and the Bible says he was named this because his mother bore him in pain. So at first I was like, yeah, I bet she did. And then I was like, oh wait, like that's kind of super cool, that like from pain can come blessings. So in my head, I tend to think of blessings in two ways, short-term blessings and long-term blessings. So short-term is more of like, if you are having a really bad day and you see a friend on campus and it's just exactly what you needed at that moment, you're like, wow, what a blessing. And then long-term blessings, at least for me, are a little bit harder to recognize. So I kind of want to share two stories tonight of long-term blessings in my own life. The first one is how I got involved at Newman, which happened a year ago. The very first day of my junior year of school, my mom texted me, like very like mom-like, you know, like the first day of school, welcome back. So she said, have an awesome day and watch for God's blessings. I never thought of it that way before, but it totally made sense when she said that, because blessings are subtle. Like they don't just like yell like, I'm a blessing, like no. They're subtle, and you have to like watch out for them. But you know, like sometimes when someone like brings something to your attention and then you start seeing it everywhere, that's how that day was for me. I was like, there's a blessing, there's a blessing, there's a blessing. And so like I went through my entire day like that, because it was like one thing after another of like my class was going really well for the first day and like actually making new friends right away in those classes on the first day. And my mom knew that I was struggling to go back to school my junior year. I had a really rough sophomore year. I dealt with a lot of mental health issues. I was kind of growing apart from my previous friend group, who were also my roommates. I was just feeling unconnected, I guess, from them, disconnected. I wasn't involved in anything, and so I just felt kind of lost. And I had been going to Newman every Sunday for Mass, but I hadn't done anything here beyond that. And I just decided, like, no, like now is the time, and I actually need to get involved at Newman. So most of my roommates didn't really support that decision as much, but one of my roommates did, and she's actually my roommate still, and she's like, no, like, you gotta go for this. And so like that's like also the little nudge that I needed. So I signed up for a Bible study, and I started going to E3, and it was awkward because I didn't know anyone. And so I would like go up, and then people like, you know, people like, you're really good about like reaching out to people and trying to connect. So people would be like, oh, like, what do you like to do for fun? And I'd be like, I play with my roommate's cat, because I didn't do anything. And so it was even like a little bit more pathetic, because like it wasn't even my own cat, it was like my roommate's cat. And oh, it was horrible. But like people kept reaching out to the weird cat girl, which I really appreciated. And then one night when I was here, like I was forcing myself to go 15 minutes early so that I'd have to talk to people, like, nightmare. Anyway, so I was talking to this one guy named Christian, and he was like, I love cats too. And I was like, oh, maybe I do belong here. And it was just kind of like, you know, how we've been talking at Mass and like the little hashtag we've been using for seen, known, valued, like that was definitely one of those moments. Because like the little Christian cat comment felt just kind of like a little blessing in a sea of awkwardness that night. Well, I was slowly starting to feel like I belonged. And then I was like, I'm gonna go on awakenings. And I was super anxious, but I was like, let's just do this anyway. I've been going to everything when I don't know anyone anyway. So I got on a bus for 2 hours. And the person I was sitting next to, Roseanne, if you know her, she fell asleep, and it was like my worst nightmare. And I was like, what do? I don't talk to like, can't talk to her, obviously. And so I was just like, okay, well, the girl sitting across the aisle from me and the guy sitting behind me were talking, and they seemed nice and weird enough, so I'd probably get along with them. So I was like, okay, hi, I'm Renee. And the girl was like, hi, I'm Hannah. And the guy was like, I'm Jose. And so if you know me now, you know that Hannah and Jose were two of my best friends. Like, guys, it just led me to my best friends, and it led me to this wonderful Newman community, and more than anything, it led me to the greatest blessing ever, which was discovering Christ in a way that I hadn't discovered him before in my life. And this meant that I was completely loved in a way that I didn't know before, and that when things got rough, like, I had a way to peace. And it mostly just meant that, like, I felt this extreme joy that I had never felt before, and sometimes it feels like a physical feeling in my chest because I just love everyone and I love being here. And I love the relationship that I've been able to cultivate with God. But I wouldn't have found the blessing in this community if it wasn't for the prior pain. Because the road isn't always going to be easy, but there are always going to be blessings along the way. So my second story of long-term blessings, basically I thought this past summer I was going to go spend it in New York City with an internship. I didn't. I was fully prepared to like apply for all these internships and everything. You know, so like I'm a journalism major going to New York City. Like, I don't know if you know, but like the rom-coms always have like a journalist in New York City, and I was like, I was just gonna have to turn 21. Like, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be living out 13 going on 30 here. Like, but God had other plans for me. I was not watching for blessings, so I was pretty upset when my advisor told me, like, hey, your classes got scheduled like differently, and you actually have to take this online class, and you won't be able to do these journals and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. So, regardless of that, my sister is 2 years older than me, and she lives in Kansas City, working as a live-in assistant for adults with developmental disabilities. It's a cool little community called L'Arche. And it's like 5 houses that are like in regular neighborhoods. And there are like 3 core members, which are what we call the adults, and 2 assistants to each house. So she was living as one of those assistants. She calls me up last spring. She's like, hey, we need another live-in assistant for the summer. If you are willing to do this, they're willing to bring you on. I said, well, my plans already got like completely exploded. So I was like, okay, you know what? Yeah, let's sign up for this. So I was like, bring it on. Guys, those core members are some of the biggest blessings that I have ever received in my life. Okay, I want to talk about them for a bit because I could talk about them for forever, but I won't. You're welcome. So this is me with 2 of my guys. I had 3 guys as my core members this summer. And so each one of them just kind of showed me blessings in different ways. The one on the right, that's Matt over there. It was really cool because one morning I was on my devotional app, and he was like, oh, what's that? And I told him, I was like, oh, it's a devotional app. And Matt's real smart. And he's just like, will you get it for me on my tablet? And I was like, absolutely, because this is a Christian community, so like, they're all Christian. And I was like, yeah, let's get him this devotional. Didn't really expect much of it. He comes up to me like a few mornings later, and he's like, Renee, did you see the devotional was about the prodigal son this morning? And it was just such a great feeling for me because, first of all, the devotional didn't even say the prodigal son anywhere in it, but it was talking about it. So not only did he know the story, but he was actually reading the devotional and taking it to heart. That was awesome. Alex just, he became my best friend, you guys. I miss Alex so much. He would just crack me up with every little thing he would say. So he would tease people, and he thought he was really funny because he was. And so one time he called someone, you big fat little red Robin Hood, with like a really big smile on his face, like, oh yeah, I really got him. And like that's just who Alex is, and he just says this hilarious stuff, and he would make me just like cry with laughter pretty much every night. Can we go to the next picture? There we go, okay. And then that's Chris, and he is deaf. And I went into the summer knowing how to point at things and knowing how to give a thumbs up. I technically like knew the sign language alphabet, like barely, and also like he was able to like do it really quickly, so I'd be like, but we would go to the library every week, and I would sit with Chris while the rest of the boys went and picked out books and CDs. And we'd sit down with a comic book, and since I was able to like hand spell a little bit, I would point at things and he would hand spell them for me, and then he'd show me what the actual sign was, so that I learned sign language from him at the library on Wednesdays. And it was just one of those God moments that you're like, you know what, like this is filling me with so much joy right now. So sometimes blessings come from not getting what we want. Because God has a greater plan. And honestly, I think that's very beautiful because my earthly desires aren't always aligned with His plan, but His plan is better for me. And blessings really just help us to live a more abundant life. When we talk to God and we ask Him for blessings, and we ask Him just to do His will in our life, He will grant you so many beautiful blessings, and honestly, who doesn't want that, you know? So since God gives us all these blessings, it's our job to use them to make the world a better place, and also to thank Him for them. You can really use blessings by being a blessing to others. One of my friends one time said, God has blessed you, and He will use you to be a blessing to others. Okay, 2 Corinthians 9:8 says, and God is able to bless you abundantly, so that in all things at all times, having all that you need, you will abound in every good work. So while we ourselves cannot bless others, God uses us as His instrument to bless others. And one of the biggest ways I think you can be a blessing to others is just by being there for them. And it seems really simple, but honestly, it's just what we need sometimes when you're just kind of having a sucky day and you're just like, you know what, I need to know that someone loves me and cares for me. And it's really just showing others God. We good? Thank you, God. Anyway, one conscious way that I've started thanking God for blessings is every single night as I pray before bed, I thank Him for 3 blessings for my day. And a lot of times as I start thinking of blessings, I'm like, oh yeah, like that happened today, and then that happened. And I found out that you can list a whole bunch more than 3 once you get going. Because God loves us so immensely that all He wants to do is bless us. He wants the best for us. So like the Father and the prodigal son, He's just waiting for us to come to Him. So how are you going to watch for God's blessings in your life? And also, how are you going to incorporate thanking Him for those blessings into your daily life? Meanwhile, I challenge you to be a blessing in someone's life tonight by talking to someone you don't know, or having a deeper conversation with maybe someone you don't know as well here after E3, because you never know what it could mean to someone. I know that it definitely helped me when I was entering the Newman community to have people just like reaching out to me and having conversations with me, because the Newman community is such a blessing overall. Like, you all are blessings to each other, and you're all blessings to me, and like I might not even know all of you that well, but like, you guys, I love you all so much. Like, I could gush also about how much, yeah, I see you guys, okay, man. But yeah, I could just like gush about that for days. So I want to wrap this up right now with a prayer. So if you'll join me, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. God, thank you so much for bringing us all here tonight. Thank you for all the blessings in our lives. Thank you for all the people who show us those blessings. Please just let your will be done in our lives. Bless us in incredible, amazing ways. We know that even if things don't go according to our plan, they will go according to yours, and that's what really matters. We love you so much. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So tonight we're going to have some prayerful time to kind of reflect on your own blessings. And then I think we'll let you know when it's time to get up, and you can sit down next to someone else and maybe talk and reflect on your blessings together, long-term, short-term, all that good stuff. And then if you feel called to like pray about those blessings and thank God for those. Also, while you're at it, this is a great opportunity to like make a coffee date, because I know Newman people like coffee dates. So, and it's just also a great way to like continue reaching out to these people and to be a blessing in someone else's life. So, thank you.